Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of Opinion Dash. All of your hosts are back, me, Bonanz, and we have Finster and Softy joining us once again. Go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
Heyo.
All right, and once again, we're going to be going over April results this month. In the month of May, we do the month previous. So let's go ahead and start out with North America. So let's hear some opening thoughts.
Okay. I want to point out, I'm going to start off with talking about one region which I don't think people talk about enough, but it's Chicago. So Chicago is actually kind of a underreported scene, but they've actually been growing their local scene for a while in the past couple of months, mostly thanks to Gelato, who's our guest this month. But Gelato does a lot of work for the community, both online and offline. He's been trying to gather up the Chicago players once again and get them motivated to play SG at their. They actually have weeklies. We're not going to talk about that here, but we're going to talk about their monthly event called Undizzy. They used to run Undizzy quite a while in the past, and I think it's just now kind of been resurging. So we're going to talk about this month here. And this result for this month's Undizzy is pretty normal. Has Gelato, of course, taking first place. Second is Cat Killer, then Greedy Chun, Jojo, then Kai, then Crank, Awesome Bombs, and then Gross Toast. And for people who aren't aware, this is kind of like a normal crew of Chicago players. Other than Crank, who actually traveled from Indiana. So Crank used to live in Chicago, but he still, I guess, loves the scene enough that he's willing to travel. So just really good stuff to him to keep showing up to this stuff. Yeah, if anyone's curious, Chicago runs these monthlies and they run weeklies as well. So Chicago's actually got a really active scene. They got more people coming out. So if you're a Chicago player out there, and you're interested in SG, then hit up Gelato or just head up the Chicago Skullgirls Discord. You can find a link on the wiki or just ask around for it.
We'll make sure to include one in the description as well.
Yeah. And with that, there's actually related to Chicago. We're going to head off to a very similar event, which is called Michigan Masters. Now it says Michigan Masters, but if you look at this result, it's almost entirely Chicago players. Basically, Chicago, I guess, rolled up for this event, and that's actually pretty cool. Michigan Masters is sort of it was just an offline event that actually features. It's like a major for poverty games, basically. That's the only way I can call it. Any poverty game you can think of, this major or this tournament has it, and it's pretty actually awesome. Unfortunately, Skullgirls didn't actually make as a main game, but they still ran it as a side tournament. It still had a couple. I think it still had 8 or more entrants. Thankfully,
I had 11.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good stuff.
And the big thing is you see a number of good players also in there. The bracket was fairly small for a tournament, but you had some pretty good players. Datagram, Royal Heart. Greedy Chun has always been kind of decent from what I can see. I lost to him once in tournament, so.
Oh, really? What tournament was that?
It was CEO Taku. I had just come off a really hard loss from Mr. Peck, but he beat me fair and square. So.
Okay, I actually don't see Greedy Chun travel that much outside of Chicago, so that's pretty cool to see. I hope I see him more at other things, but I guess he doesn't need to because he lives in Chicago and Combo Breaker.
Yeah, in the scene, and then Chuck, obviously, very good player. So I'd say overall the bracket was quite strong despite its size.
Yeah, definitely it was a good bracket. So let's go over the bracket right now. The winner was actually Chuck and Plasma. Second was Gelato. Third was Greedy Chun. Fourth was Jojo. Fifth was Cat Killer. Sixth and seventh Royal Heart, and then Datagram, and then eighth was Mr. 2. Royal Heart was actually DQ'd, so unfortunately Royal Heart kind of had a lower placing than we would expect.
Weren't they also in Soul Calibur top 8 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it ran at the exact same time as Soul Calibur top 8.
I saw there was conflict there. I remember something like that.
Yeah, I remember something like too, and stuff like that just happens. And unfortunately, Skullgirls is the side tournament. Yeah, and Soul Calibur was the main tournament. So
one is worth more money than the other.
Yeah, hopefully Soul Calibur will be hype at Evo, but this is a Skullgirls podcast, not Soul Calibur. So anyways, it was still cool to see Chuck and Plasma beat Gelato. Even though Gelato's my boy, I'm always rooting for him and wishing him well. Chuck has also been improving really well, and I thought he actually played just actually really solid. Like, I can't like fall. Sometimes you can look at a set and be like, oh, this was their off day or something. No, like Chuck and Plasma was just really solid today. So,
sure.
overall good tournament, good bracket. Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like a pretty awesome bracket, and I want to talk about Escaping Workforce a little bit, and we could see kind of some pretty nice results. Gelato taking first in a number of them, and iControl also showing up for all of these as well. And then one notable result, new player I haven't heard of before, actually, Rentaku taking third place over some other more notable players. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so this was actually kind of confusing, or not confusing, but we saw this player called Rentaku take third place, and they apparently, in the bracket, it says they beat Facade. Facade's like a pretty known player who's one of the better players, I think, for the online scene. So it was actually kind of surprising. And I saw Rentaku play, and they weren't that bad. But it was like sort of confusing. Like I wish on stream we got to see Rentaku versus Facade, but unfortunately their match was actually like just off stream, and we never got to see what happened. So, by the way, it's still a cool result. We got a solo fortune in the top 3 for this online tournament. So, Sainun, eat your heart out.
Yeah, all the new solo fortune players. If any of you do know Rentaku and know anything about him, let us know in the
he's
comments.
A mysterious player. We never heard of him before.
Yeah, new players are always fun to see. So if you know a little bit about him, go ahead and let us know in the comments.
Yep.
All right. Anything else of note that you want to talk about for Escaping Workforce, or do we want to go ahead and move on?
Well, I don't want to like gang up on Facade, but he also lost to someone called Flex in Losers, Flex also beat Cruel in Losers, which is a pretty good W. So if we're looking at results.
Like, let me put it this way: that bracket is really interesting, and I feel like we only saw like 3 matches on stream. Like, I wish I could talk a lot more about this bracket, but it's just so confusing for that stream, which that happens sometimes with these tournaments when some of the cool matches are off stream. But yeah, no, I saw that too, Softy. It's yeah, I don't know. I don't know that player either. I didn't even see them on stream, I think, at all. So I don't know what they played. So
interesting.
I don't know if it was an off day for Facade or what, but who knows?
Yeah, interesting stuff. And then after Escaping Workforce, there's Be Great, obviously another stable tournament that we have going on. And once again, we see some pretty similar names up in there. Gelato taking some wins, Harapon taking some wins, and the fourth week, the big thing of note is that TJ, or otherwise known as Swift Fox Dash, actually entered and took first place over both Harapon and Cloud.
Yeah, so
why don't you tell me a bit about that, actually?
Yeah, so it was an interesting week. We had a lot of heavy hitters. Thanks to the random seeding, we got Swift Fox Dash versus Cloud King round 1. So that kind of messed with the bracket a bit. Cloud King had to pull a gigantic losers bracket run, and Cloud ended up getting third, losing to Swift Fox in losers because Hirapon took a set off of TJ in winners finals, which is pretty impressive. I think it was a 3-2 victory, and then he got 6-1 in grands, but he took a set. He got some good hits in though.
For sure.
Yeah, like I've seen, it's actually a kind of result when we're talking about Hirapon and TJ. I've actually always kind of thought that would happen in terms of Hirapon beating TJ. It's always, I felt, possible. Any player who plays brass, I feel like, is the kind of perfect player to like just really get a good upset on TJ. So, like, if anyone, like, sometimes when some players look at TJ, they're like, how do we deal with like a strong duo like Peacock with that assist with lock and load? But really, the secret is kind of just play brass. Brass is really tough for Peacock to deal with, and it's kind of a shame that in America we don't have more brass players to take advantage of it. So I hope this is a sign to everyone, like, hey, you really can just counter pick brass sometimes and it'll work out.
Yeah, just play big band, forehead.
Just play big band and peacock, it'll work.
I mean, it's not that easy to play. You do have to kind of know big band a bit to like do well.
Most players can abuse kind of pocket big band players, but if you do know big band, then it is helpful for the matchup.
It does help out a lot. Yeah. In general, I thought B grade was actually pretty good this month. It had good turnout overall. I actually liked seeing like Full Bleed enter one week randomly. We had Penny and Fluter Sam, like they normally don't enter tournaments. All these players like who we normally, and TJ of course, a bunch of these players who we normally don't see enter these online tournaments just decide to all enter in April. I thought it was really fun. So
yeah, very interesting for sure. And then great turnout overall for the event. So really well put out. For PSN, moving over a little bit, got a little bit of time for them. Let's talk about Shaky entering. How about that? See him entering both of the during the bi-weeklies.
Yeah.
Shaky entering, Dante entering.
Basically, like Shaky Fingers has like played on PSN, but we normally don't see him in the actual like PSN Ranbats. I don't know if it was because of a time thing for him. I'm not sure, but whatever it was, I think he got out of his system and now he's like entering, and it's pretty cool to see. I wish I could see him play versus like Nano or some other players. But still, it was a pretty good turnout with Red Savern and Idante. I always like watching the solo players fight. And it's always fun to watch Shaky do well. So, yeah, it was just good overall. So,
it's funny
to see PSN.
It's funny because last month we talked so much about Nano like coming in and kind of dominating, and then he didn't enter at all.
Yeah, so I don't know I can't tell because I'm not with the PSN community that much, but I kind of hope that some of their players could like consistently enter. The other PC players, it always feels like it's pretty consistent with like Gelato, Rabble, Buck Yo-Yo. I can usually count on seeing these players enter, but it feels so weird with PSN in terms of consistency.
I know they switched days, right? So that could have messed up people's ability.
Yeah, the PSN does switch days, which can be difficult. Yeah, so just know for your PSN guys, I hope you guys really make it out to enter because I always like watching your events. So if you can, please make it out.
To watch. Really strong players in PSN for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that is all the time we have for North America. So we're going to move on real quick to the Europe scene. So let's go and talk about a couple of European events that happened this time. We'll go ahead and start off with Fender.
Okay, so obviously with Europe, we're going to start with Eurofight. Usually near the start of the month. And this Eurofight I thought was pretty fun to watch. Top 8 was first with Mr. Peck, second was Sanji, third was Smile. He's actually an old player, and we'll talk about him in a minute. Fourth was Pills Eater. Fifth was The Knife. Sixth was Buzzer Zero. Seventh was Toffle. And eighth was Gone to Heaven. So a lot of this sort of makes sense, but the most surprising thing is basically Smile. So Smile, for people who don't know, he's like an older player. I don't know when he started playing, but like he's gotta be from definitely like 2016 days at least. And he kind of took a long break, I think, for school. Maybe also just taking a break from SG. And sort of recently, he just came back to the Discord, and we sort of like nudged him, like, "Hey, you should start playing SG again, dude." And he just came back, and the first tournament he entered got like third. Actually gained kind of an upset versus a Knife, Buzzer, and like Toffle, and like I was surprised to see like him come back and not be super full of rust. And like Smile's a pretty solid player, honestly. He deserved these wins. He played very well. I think he even had a really good set versus Sanji too in that set. So honestly, this Eurofight was pretty fun to watch, if only just to see like Smile like actually just come back out of nowhere and just really go to town. So
always good to see someone getting back on the bike, just like that, the bike, right?
Yeah, I feel like this kind of happened last month, but it's just always a good thing to see. So with that, let's move on to kind of another big event I want to make sure I get to is the Mr. Boris Kumite. So the Mr. Boris Kumite is kind of special for one big reason is Mike Z entered. He's our special guest who none of us expected. I don't know why Mike Z really entered, but maybe he just has the personal Russia connection. Given
he was in the stream chat.
Given his history,
and someone asked him to enter. That was it.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Well, I mean, I don't see Mike Z often entering some of these online kumites and stuff, but it was really, I thought it was something appropriate about, of all the ones he entered, it would be the Russian kumite. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That to me is very, very funny.
Yeah. But no, so there's some pretty good results here. He got Mr. Boris got to play against Tony and had a pretty good set. Tony won 3-2. Actually, when he played Mike, Mr. Boris lost 1-3. But still, it was actually, despite the lag, it was a really good set. Trust me. We had JP enter as well. That set went 3-2 for JP. Unfortunately, these matches I'm mentioning, Mr. Boris keeps losing, but let me promise you, Mr. Boris is a really interesting, fun player to watch. That kind of happens through most of these. I would say is that Mr. Boris actually kind of loses, but like pretty narrowly, or at least they're really good sets. And I want to make sure I point this out is that Mr. Boris, he was really excited when Mike Z entered because Mr. Boris is more or less kind of like shouldering the Skullgirls Russian community all on his own back. And he did this cool big video about like Lab Zero and their history, all translated into Russian to kind of explain like the history of the game to these guys, to that community. And to him to like have his personal hero Mike just like come in and just get to play him, it's really, really cool. A lot of times we think of Mike Z as a player, but for some of us, like he is kind of like, person to look up to or a hero, if anything. Like it's really cool to kind of like get these moments with him. So, yeah, I think that's kind of all I wanted to say. But I hope people get to watch and sort of appreciate sort of what's going on with the Mr. Boris Kumite here.
For sure. And it's always good to hear about like new communities that you hadn't heard about before. Because for me, I also not really heard about the Russian community prior to this.
The Russian community, they actually they don't run like a weekly event or like a weekly like tournament, but they actually run like a weekly weekly get grade. They run like a newbie like event to like have them play exhibition matches and just like have fun and like learn to play while Mr. Boris offers like advice. It's really cool and really fun. And they run it weekly. Check it out if you can. So yeah, Russian community is sort of like fledgling and building up, but it's pretty cool to watch. So
always good to see new players coming in. Always great. All right, and while we're still on the topic of EU, let's go ahead and switch on over to the EU Skullbats, where we have Quav taking 1 week, Ranger taking another, and Peck taking the last week. What are some of the thoughts on that?
Kind of quick, but standard results, I think. I believe, I don't remember, but I think I asked Peck about this before, and I think one thing Peck has been trying to do is play more. This is maybe when Peck was just trying to play Point Parasol with Robo as a duo instead of just going with his normal trio. I believe the reason he said was because he wanted something else to do with brass players like Buzzer Zero or Sanji and whatnot. Because obviously brass players, the kind of thing Mr. Peck would struggle with his team. So I think normally he tries something out, and it worked out in the last week. Hopefully it's something he can get working versus Buzzer Zero. So, and we probably won't have time to cover this, but there was an offline tournament with the mix-up. Sort of standard results there. It was a French tournament. Standard results with Nephros taking first, Sanji second, third with Rex, fourth was Waranoi, who traveled for this tournament, surprisingly. Fifth was Servon, sixth was Shaft, and then seventh, I literally don't know their name. Like, I think it's Fighter.
BB-38 Fighter. Is that a Star Wars reference?
I don't know.
Is it a Star Wars reference? I don't know.
But that's BB-8 and not. I don't think that this is.
It is. I think BB-38. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone does know BB-38 and what we assume is Fighter, let us know again in the comments if you know this player.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about him.
It was a fun little tournament. I would recommend watching it. But hopefully the VOD stays out there because it's actually not a permanent VOD. So if anyone can get a shout out to the.
Somebody didn't watch the PSA. Come on, folks.
They had
put it up there
visual
for a
aids.
reason.
Nothing makes me more sad than seeing a VOD on Twitch and I'm like, oh, it's not a highlight.
Come on, don't make Finster cry.
Please.
Only you, for $5 a month, can save your local Finster. Save your VODs. Save a life.
Okay.
Alright, well, let's go ahead and move on.
Alright, so moving on to Brazil, we had some issues finding a lot of Brazil's brackets for this month, in the month of April. The one bracket we did find, we had pretty standard results. We had Jordito, Laggy, and Homer Tex top 3. Pretty much kind of the mainstays. If we find
Is it Jorgito or Jorge? I thought it was Jorge. Like, that's just from what I've known him over the years.
Jorge makes more sense, actually.
Because I mean, it could be Jorgito.
I mean, Jorgito is just little Jorge.
I know. Yeah. So like, I don't know if he got smaller since we've talked about him previously.
Maybe the smallness of his lad.
to represent the smallness of our results here.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that I did talk to someone from Brazil scene recently. They said they were still running their events. They just have I couldn't find the brackets, but they did mention in the main court in like the event channel that they're still running weekly events.
Okay, so sounds good.
A lack of brackets, and if you want to see your events on the results more often, it would also extremely help us if you sent us in brackets. You know, be very nice. You can send them in our Discord, which we'll have a link for in the description, or if you just want to send it to one of us directly, it would help us out immensely in gathering our resources for these segments.
Mm-hmm.
Most certainly. And let's talk about Japan for a bit to do a very quick move forward. What is everyone's thoughts on Japan? What's some interesting stuff?
So these results were pretty normal. So first place was Shigaken, who's, in my opinion, he's probably like the third best player in Japan. I hope I don't get crucified by the Japanese community for saying that. I've just seen Shigaken a lot, and I personally like him as a player. And I think I usually see him do pretty well. Second was Bankarj. I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, but he's a Japanese player who's been playing for a while. Plays Pain Bella band, and I like him a lot. So if someone can please tell me how to pronounce his name, I'll like it a lot, because I like him so much that I feel bad for not saying his name correctly. Third is Naminori, who, if people don't remember, he's actually a Japanese player who kind of frequently travels to America, at least for Frosty Faustins.
I remember that, what other game does he play? He's good at.
I think it's Melty.
Yeah, Melty. That's what I remember from.
Yeah, the name seems vaguely familiar from not Skullgirls. So.
Yeah, and he's pretty good at Skullgirls as well. I like his team. It's Painwheel Robo Double. It's a team I think is pretty good, and I like that he's repping it out.
Stuff.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, it's a pretty cool team. Like seeing people play that. Fourth, I'm not sure about this name. Ashidama Na. So again, please correct me on that name. But that's also Para Double Eliza, pretty good team. Number 5 is a player who entered as Filia Pro, and I am almost 100% sure that's actually Kodama. He's a Japanese player who plays Paraphilia Band.
Filia Pro 69.
Yeah, I believe he's going for that joke. But
is that the new SG meme? My character name 69 Pro.
Oh, that's been the joke for a while, man. So yeah,
I thought only Alex was doing that.
No, we got some more people doing it, especially now with Filia Pro. So
all right,
Filia Pro 69 right here. Then after that we got Wool, Lug. Again, all these Japanese player names, I know them. I see them on stream. I watch their streams a bunch. I don't actually know how they're supposed to be pronounced, but I want to say Lug because I think it's immensely funnier that way. So, but I actually like Lug a lot. Unfortunately, he only got 7th at this tournament here, below Wool. So hopefully he does better in the future. And we have 8th with B Rango, who's another player I personally know, and he actually won this tournament with Solo Peacock.
Yeah, I thought he was known for the Painwheel.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good Painwheel player, and I've never seen him go with Solo Peacock, but Oh well. Overall, this. I mean, I can't dictate these things, man. Maybe he's working on his Peacock. I don't know.
The Peacock technology.
It was single elim 2 out of 3. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one thing I really don't like from the tournament. I like watching it. The players are cool and they do some cool things, but it is a single elim tournament that is run 2 out of 3. So
don't get hit.
I know that. Yeah, it's very rough, and I don't know if we can really get the Japanese team to do this, but man, it would really be cool to just either do double elim or 3 out of 5. And as a quick last shout out, big thank you to FDD, whose full name I can't say.
Also goes by Mad Worlder.
But yeah, if you see him on Twitch, it's usually Mad Worlder. And he is the person who actually rebroadcast the stream in English for us, and gave us a translation of names and help us with the bracket. He is going to be there for hopefully every Japanese monthly we have to rebroadcast. Big shouts to him for helping us get aware and get us on top of these Japanese players, because Japanese players stream a bunch, but it's hard for us to understand what's going on. So big shouts to him.
For sure.
For sure. And now let's move on to what we kind of can say is the highlight of the month. Oceania.
This is definitely my highlight of the month.
Yeah, Fencer was ready for this all month long.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
Okay, so let me talk about this. So OCE, I've been watching this scene for I guess the past year or so, and they kind of have this big problem with Jedi Link. If we probably talked about this on the podcast before, Jedi Link sort of to give the story, but Jedi Link's the normal top player who's been beating everyone most of the time. There's been sometimes he's lost before, but it's usually pretty rare. Most of the time it's usually him. And they kind of, and a bunch of those players will sometimes switch teams or switch assists, but very rarely do they ever consistently beat Jedi Link. But what's pretty notable about this week though was basically, if we look at the results right here, for 3 weeks in a row, it was Jedi Link first and then Mao in second. And let me tell you that the big deal about that was just those sets with Jedi and Mao in their grand finals or their winners finals were always really close, really good Skullgirl sets. It would be Mao winning over Jedi in winners, but then having a close set in the grand finals reset. They were just really good games overall. I guess the secret for Mao was he just decided to drop the Peacock and go with double big band, and it seemed to be working out really well for him. And then you could almost taste how close Mao was to just beating Jedi all 3 times and getting that W. And it kind of culminated at the very end where we had this result of the top 3 was Risky, Yoma, and Mao. And the surprising thing was Jedi was at the tournament and he finished in 4th. Didn't even get top 3. What happened was Yoma beat Jedi in winners, and then Mao beat Jedi in losers. And both of those players lost to Risky. It was kind of just a really good bracket overall. Overall, highly top recommend for Oceania in terms of what was going on for the Rambats. We recommend all these ones, all their VODs. And it's just really good to kind of see that developing storyline of players getting better, improving, trying new things out to get over their target, whatever gatekeepers there, and to see it just actually get a good payoff. Really proud of kind of them for really trying to push things forward. And maybe past this, who knows how it's going to be, if maybe Jedi Link will keep going months ahead. But I would want them to look at this month to see that it is possible to just push yourself forward and get over that hump, whatever it is that you're getting over. So
yeah,
really
exactly. It's always good to see players who have been struggling to beat someone, kind of like their personal demon, and it's always good to see players kind of overcome that hurdle and place better than them, because at that point that you've leveled up, and that's one of the great things to see in the FGC is people leveling up, because competition is ultimately what we're in here for, right? We want good competition, at least as spectators.
Mm-hmm. That's what I love. It was this is what I would say. It's definitely such a good spectator event for these Rambats for Oceania. They're so fun to watch. They're fun players. They play. They all have big band, I know, but it's actually beyond big band. There's actually a good mix, squiggly, double, the Valentine, Philia, Beowulf. They're all play so different, and it's so fun to watch. Honestly, I can't recommend this enough to see how the players are and how different they are. Risky's always a joy to watch in general, but so is Mao. I love watching Mao's double so much. So, really big props for them on this, and I really hope that in the future Oceania also does well. But we can't mention Oceania without also going to the Demise Kumite. So this is also a big, important thing I want to point out, because Demise isn't someone we're going to see on the Oceania Ranbats, because Demise unfortunately has a scheduling problem and can't make it to the online brackets. But he is an up-and-coming player. Demise has been like on the radar for a while in terms of trying to make it up there with the top 5 players in the region. The commonly agreed top 5 players in Oceania are, Jedi Link, Yoma, Mao, and then Age, and then I think I forgot someone in there. Risky. Yeah, those are our top 5 players, and it's usually mostly those players in the top 3 of all those Ranbats. Pretty normal. Unfortunately, like, Demise doesn't get to go out to brackets, but he does super well whenever he does, or plays very well whenever he gets those players. So for a while, like, Demise actually wanted to run a Kumite to say, like, hey, I think I'm top 5. I think I deserve to be in this echelon of top players in the region. Basically, like, if we're going to make a Smash comparison, think like Leffen to the 5 gods of, Melee, someone who's, like, pretty good in trying to actually challenge them. So that's why Demise ran this Kumite, and the results, I want to say, paid off. Demise had some really good sets. He actually beat Yoma and Risky in pretty close sets. It was 5-3 versus Yoma, and it was 5-4 versus Risky. And he lost to Mao and Jedi. Unfortunately, they were at pretty bad sets, actually. Like, he actually lost kind of badly.
Pretty clean.
But I have my assurances from Demise himself that he looks at these losses and is like, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to study these VODs. I'm going to, like, get back harder next time. And that level of effort is what I love to see in these players, where I talk to them, ask them what they can do better, and they're like, I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to review my matches, and I'm going to be better the next time. You'll see. That determination is why I think, Demise is going to be a player to look out for. So I would advise anyone to kind of, like, look out for this dude, check out his VODs, and put it up there for him, man, because he is aiming for the top, and I like seeing that.
Close set against Wing Zero also was a special guest.
Yeah, so our special guest for this Kumite was Wing Zero, who stopped by, like, at 4 in the morning for SoCal. Like, and it was like, he I don't know why, but he just entered, and it was a lot of fun. And let me tell you, no one's a bigger fan of Wing Zero than Demise. He loves, actually, like, anything Wing Zero does. I think, like, partway through the set, like, Demise, like, came into the voice channel and was like, oh my gosh, Wing hit me with the thing I always see him do on VODs. That was so cool. That level of, like, fanboying while, like, getting destroyed is just funny. I mean, Demise didn't get destroyed here, but it's just really, really cool to see, that level of studying someone and then, like, having them fan out a bit. It was fun, all in good fun and cool.
Did really well also,
Yeah, no, Demise is definitely a good player. Let make no mistake, he's pretty good. So sure. Overall, looked really fun.
Yeah, Oceania seemed pretty hype.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, do we have any other notes on Oceania?
No, I think we're good.
Alright, do we want to talk about YSB at all? Maybe briefly.
We can. So YSB is not the monthly. YSB is, like, the weekly event that Oceania actually has. It's their local event. And some of the players can make out, but the player spread out for Oceania is kind of wide, so only a couple of their players make it out. It's typically, like, Risky, CJ, Demise sometimes makes it out, but it's kind of difficult. Tox, and I believe Interplay or Interpay. So we usually see, like, those players a bunch in Oceania, and they're pretty good players. We don't normally get their brackets or VODs very much, but actually for the month of April, we do have a single VOD from their YSB. And the results were pretty, I would say, typical. Risky placed in first, and Demise was second, and in third was CJ. Demise, like, normally, I think he said he was tired, but yeah, no, I think he usually goes even with risky, I would say, from what I've seen the results. So I think this is pretty standard bracket for YSP. But hopefully it's a sign in the future that they'll start actually putting out their locals very much, because yeah, Oceania does have an actual local. Hopefully anyone in Australia can look up to see if it's close to them. I know Australia is a very big place, so hopefully they can get something going. It's tough for them, but I like to see that they're putting out that effort. So, and the Oceania scene is very fun. They all seem like cool guys, especially risky. So
certainly. Oceania hype this month.
Yeah,
last month, rather.
Well, yeah, this was last month. I mean, so we're recording this in like May, and May does have their actual big offline major, BAM, which actually happened the week before Combo Breaker. So check out BAM if you got time. But we'll talk about that next month. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah,
for sure. And that is about all the time we have for the results, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off now, and we're going to start preparing for our quote-unquote interview, more of just a general Combo Breaker discussion, but we will be including Q&A with our special guest, Gelato. But for now, a brief intermission, and we'll be right back to you folks soon. Hello, everybody, and we are back from our brief intermission, and we are now joined by Gelato. Go ahead and say hello to everyone.
Hello, what's up? It's me, Gelato.
Would you like to tell the audience anything about yourself?
Sure. So, I'm a Skullgirls player from Chicago. I've been playing it. I bought it on release as my first fighting game, but I didn't really start getting into it until around going to tournaments till around 2014.
You bought vanilla?
Yeah.
Oh, was that on? Did you buy it on like PSN?
Yeah, on PS3.
Okay, so yeah, you
but,
got.
I wasn't really into the scene or anything.
Okay, when did you get into the scene then?
Yeah, it was around 2014 with UFGT X.
Oh, that was
10. Yeah, that was my first major. We played there actually. That's right.
Yeah, we met there. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. I play Parasol Double Cerebella. And I helped a lot with the Shoryuken wiki, and I made T1 with Bacon.
Yeah, let's actually talk about those for a minute, because those are kind of, I mean, they're probably not your biggest accomplishments, because you're a competitor, you're probably going to value how you do in the competitive scene. But I think the community stuff is also very important, and I think we should talk about that a bit.
It gets overlooked how much work people put into community building. Yeah,
especially with how good the wiki is, and I think how much work we put into it. So let's talk about that for a bit. So let's start with the wiki. Where was the wiki before and after when you started touching it?
Yeah, sure. So the Shoryuken wiki, if you go on there, it has a lot of games on there, and a lot of old school games have pages that are really good and have been around forever. And Skullgirls actually I think they had it ever since even before the game came out, but it was oh shoot, I forgot to look up his name.
that old editor, right?
It was basically for such a long time. It was one guy who was doing all of it, and he was updating it throughout like STE and the PC release. And
it wasn't Flotilla, was it? It was
Pizza Rhino.
Pizza Rhino, yeah.
Yeah. So Pizza Rhino maintained it for a very long time, but he stopped around I think around when Big Man or Eliza came out, and then for a while the wiki just was kind of dead. People used it as when people want to look at frame data, you go SRK, but it's probably wrong. So it's just we should probably make this better. It started off with just getting the frame data and getting move pictures on there, and then stuff just kind of snowballed from there. It was well, we could really rewrite a lot of these descriptions, and this would be a nice page to have, and it just became this huge project with so many different people helping out, and it's still an ongoing project today. I don't think it's really ever going to end, but the wiki's in a pretty good spot right now. And
is there anything, speaking of the ongoing parts of the wiki, is there anything you want to talk about, directions or any recruitment? Is there anything people can help out with right now on the wiki that you think we should talk about?
Yeah. So The best. So right now the wiki has like frame data, hitboxes, basic move description, stuff like that. It's weak in like combos, resets, and like we have this team building page too that like we want to like make into a useful resource. So if you want to help edit the wiki, I guess I can like go in more details on how to do this later, but like mostly like writing out like fleshing out the combo sections, the reset sections, the team building sections, and those are like probably the biggest areas for improving right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, only about half the cast is really fleshed out for the team building section. A lot of them just has like pictures of the default assists without really explanation of what they want out of a team, what they bring to a team, all that stuff. But there's a lot of good resources on there.
Yeah,
so it's sort of like some of the characters are complete, and we want that to be like the format of like, you know.
It's a bit inconsistent with the quality of the pages, like depending on who was able to write stuff for it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of pages that are written by different. It was not one single person. It was not Gelato who wrote these pages. It wasn't me. It wasn't me either. We had a lot of people help with like writing stuff for each character page.
Yeah,
I actually want to give a brief shout out to all the people who helped with it.
Go ahead.
Cian Conroy, that guy is a legend. He went through every single character's frame data in the game and verified it on the wiki.
Oh, that's wild.
Yes.
There was a lot of stuff that needed to be updated. So
yes,
thank him for his.
Like, we don't talk about him enough, but he did a lot of work for us, and it was like a godsend.
And shout out to two people here. Fenster wrote a lot of or at least like started a lot of the new like character descriptions and like move descriptions.
Yeah, so just kind of showing the format of how it should be written, and in a way that like hopefully could be useful to other people. And just kind of giving Gelato like ideas and poking them occasionally.
Like me and you would like go back and forth. We still do go back and forth like ideas for the project and stuff.
No problem. I'm always happy to help, but I always see it as like your baby. So.
And then Softy, you wrote a lot of stuff for Fukua's page, and
I think the majority of it.
It's probably one of the most complete pages on it. It's kind of like a example for the rest of the pages.
Yeah.
And shout outs to everyone who ever stopped by the wiki channel and the Skullgirls Discord and made small edits. Like anyone who ever edited the wiki, thank you so much.
Yeah, or like, people in the channel or not in the channel who like give us DMs or just tell us. Helps out a lot.
Yeah. Like it's a huge community effort.
Yeah, no, the great thing about like a good community built wiki like this is that you get some varying opinions, some good, some bad, but the good thing is that you get more points of view.
That was actually one of the challenges was like writing the stuff in such a way where it's like we want to stray as far away as possible from like subjective stuff, so people don't like be like, well, why did you say the Parasol's Napalm Pillar sucks or like something like that, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I try to
keep it neutral.
When I started writing for the wiki, I try to put things as neutral as possible in terms of showing the usefulness of moves and sort of how they can be converted off of or how they can be used, but try to avoid like summary judgments of like how good or bad things are. Maybe how good things are if it's like notable to everyone, like how good it is, like Eliza's stand medium punch, and how I was reminded over and over, this move needs to be like, you know, highlighted and circled and.
I think we learned a lot about what it takes to make a good like fighting guide through the process list. Something I learned and want to go back to more is like cleaning up some of the moves descriptions, because some of them just have way too much detail, or like at least organizing the detail of it. Like I think like doubles level 5 has like must have like 15 bullet points on like all the different stuff, and I think I went back and cleaned that one up a little bit, but yeah, it's a big task.
It is, yeah.
There's always stuff that could be done better.
There's so much to do on the wiki, so please, if anyone's like out there who wants to help contribute more, we could always use more people trying to help. If you want to be a writer or you have some idea, please throw it at us.
Literally anything at the wiki is up to be edited and improved. So if you have any like contributions you want to make, doesn't need to be strictly what I just mentioned earlier. Stop by there's instructions on how to like become an editor on the wiki channel in the Skullgirls Discord.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is for everyone. Like, there's no, if you didn't write for the Peacock page or the Parasol page or the Robo page, whatever page that you want to help with, don't be afraid to like just try to edit it or to try to contribute to it. No one owns any single page. Just as long as you try to talk to someone, and usually you'll be fine. As long as you just get a conversation going about what you want to do and how you think it should be improved. So please help us out. We can use any help we can, especially as me and Gelato are getting more busy these days. So
yeah,
certainly. And speaking of being busy, the wiki is not your only project at the moment, is it?
No,
let's talk a little bit about Tuna with Bacon real quick.
So yeah, after the wiki thing kind of died down and was in like I was kind of done with what I want to do with it. Like something that actually came up during like one of the ideas we had for the wiki was like we should have a list of video links to majors. And it was like, oh man, it would be cool if we had like a site like Keep on Rockin' or MeltyDB or ChangeShift.com, now formerly ChangeShift, now Passing Link. Just like these games have like really good match video databases, and they're so helpful for learning the game, and it's just like a general reference or resource. Like when I was learning Guilty Gear, or like Melty, like these games aren't even really main. Like they're not like, it's not Skullgirls. I don't play them as much as Skullgirls, but I would watch so much more Guilty Gear because Keep on Rockin' just had so many videos of Guilty, like high level Guilty Gear matches, and it was easy to watch. And that kind of accessibility is good for like not just casual viewers, but also just like experienced players. Because like say you're experienced Guilty Gear player and there was like no one timestamp the Mikado VODs, like who the hell is gonna like watch like 7 hours to find every single like match of a certain player? Like it helps out like pretty much every level of player, and like being able to easily see not just high level, but like anyone play the game and like do your own research and watching other people play the game is like such a big part of learning how to play. And basically just wanted a resource like that for Skullgirls. And also like I wanted to get my feet more into web development. I had a little bit of a background in it, but this was like I didn't really know that much about like how to actually make a website like this, so I was learning a lot too. So like if something is like, if you're an actual web developer and you see something on the site that's like, why do you do this, like that's why.
So do you have any like big projects for how to move Tuna with Bacon forward?
So in the future, look out, like something I'm still really not happy with is the submission process. So in the future, be looking out for a more streamlined way to add videos to the site. To
actually like add them instead of the current system right now is you send.
It's literally just like, hey, message me timestamps and I'll put them in there myself, which is not the way to do it at all. So
ideally, no,
it's not.
But in the future,
yes, in the future there'll be a far more streamlined way to do it. So be on the lookout for that.
Well, this sounds great.
Perfect. And thank you very much for introducing yourself and telling us some about what you've done for the community. And now that we've got the biggest community event for Skullgirls coming up, or at least one of them, Combo Breaker. So this is the pre-Combo Breaker episode, so I figured in lieu of a traditional interview, we will instead go over some of the Combo Breaker pools and talk about some players and stuff like that. How does that sound for everyone?
Hell yeah.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Awesome. So we have the pool list here. So we have everybody up here. And let's just talk about some players that we find interesting in each pool. For me personally, in D1, we have some real classic names. Obviously, we have arguably the best player, probably the best player, most definitely the best player, Sonic Fox. We have Shaky, we have POS, we have Red Witch, Psychopath, some well-known names. What do y'all think of Pool D1 here? I think personally it's kind of a killer pool, but
it was.
And Softy's in it as well.
It was a little harder, like when Full Bleed had to drop out of the tournament, so he was in that pool. I'm not sure if they'll take him out by the time Combo Breaker starts, but I think
they will, because I do think Combo Breaker definitely last year they like changed their pools a bit.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if there's a pool, like I guess this should preface this whole thing. There's a pool submission feedback form if you're entering the players in these pools and want to like if you have to play someone in your region or something, they're really receptive to feedback, and like just from like my own experience in the past or what I've heard from other people. I think so for this pool specifically, D1, I looked at this pool, at first I thought it was probably one of the harder pools, and then when Fullbleed unfortunately had to drop out, I think this pool was more on par with the other ones.
And we'll probably get the other people, like people who sign up on site. If we have two buys, we're definitely getting some people who missed registration but still want to play. So we might be getting Dango in this pool.
Yeah,
so Dango actually, I can't remember if it was an error or if it was like an error on his part or Combreaker or Smash GG's part, but their entry did not go through, so they're gonna enter on site, and they're gonna get, the way Combreaker does that is they're gonna get put into one of the free buys in the brackets. So there's a wild card coming in one of these pools.
There's a bomb to be planted, that's for sure. Dango, a very strong player, of course, so knocked me out at Combo Breaker last year and top 32, so obviously nothing but respect for them. I
have no idea. I want Dango to do well, but as much as we want to talk about him, we just don't know where he'll be in bracket. Depending on where he's put, he could either be in a great pool that like lets him get to like maybe top 8, or maybe he just gets drowned in pools. We don't know.
But so. There's some killer pools. There's some pooler killers out here.
Some real sharks.
As my old melee crew would say, there's not a lot of pool towels. You know, there's no one that you're just like the top players are gonna dry themselves off with.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That is such a Smash way to put it.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
It's also surprisingly has to deal with hygiene.
Oh, and that is a meme for another time. Pool D2 moving forward. Some less recognizable names here, but still some pretty recognizable ones. We have Fosh, Liam, PME, Ravioli, Shadow Stew, TBD, otherwise known as Trained by Death. FDDD, I've seen them around.
That's Mad Worldler, by the way.
Mad Worldler, yeah, the person we were talking about earlier. Shoutouts to them again for the Japan stuff. So, obviously, again, some pretty strong players in this pool as well. Fosh, PME, Liam, all them.
So I maybe not a lot of people know this, but Ravioli, he actually switched teams. Like last year, and for most of like this year, he was actually playing his trio of like Filia, Robo, Fukuwa.
Yeah.
And he liked that team a lot because he was a big Filia fan. But he actually just since decided, I'm actually a Fortune player. And now he just switched his teams to a Fortune double Fukuwa.
That's like my dream team, to be honest, but I just don't like playing for
Doesn't sound like a doesn't sound like a team you can go wrong with.
Nope. It's a pretty good team, and it's actually like, I don't want to say it's like Ravi's true form, but it feels like I could feel the funk coming off of him every time. And like I never even met the guy. I could just feel it every time I talked to him of like how much he was not enjoying SG whenever he like talked about things. But ever since he picked up Fortune, it feels like he's been revitalized. He's been enjoying SG more than before. So I think I don't know how well he's going to do with the team. I have seen him actually really improve from his like day 0 double to like, I guess week 1 double. It's still got a way to go, but he's improving and he's making it work. And I'm glad to see that. So he does have a new team, so it's going to be different this time around.
Has finally embraced the darkness in his heart.
Yeah.
He's one of the 3 European players coming in.
Yes, he's one of the people. It's less than last year.
International representation.
Yeah, we don't have that much international representation. Definitely less than last year, but it's still good to see him travel out. He enjoyed CB so much last year, he just wanted to come again. And I'm glad for it.
Yeah.
I think he even said that he maybe wants to come to see Otaku, which I think he would enjoy that event a lot as well.
Oh yeah, see Otaku.
Also a great event.
CB, great event, but see Otaku is from my homeland, and I love it so much.
The homeland of anime?
Homeland of anime. Anime and mosquitoes.
So Liam is also in this pool. Is definitely one of the favorites to make top 8, not top 3.
So Liam's in this pool, and so a lot of us are not sure about what team Liam's actually going to be playing. Because Liam's been saying a lot of stuff apparently about like trying other characters and playing other teams. And I just don't even know him
recently. He cycled through some Parasol teams like Parasol Robo Fortune Double. I don't know if remember if it was that exact order. Like Robo Fortune, Peacock, like big band teams.
Yeah,
I think like those sets of characters are stuff he's been switching around with when he played me.
The last time I asked, or was like kind of talking about it, he said he's rusty and he's trying to prep the classic team he ran from last Combo Breaker, because before he was trying to switch to like a brass team. But then he's been working on Skullgirls Mobile and all that so much, and other projects. I think Liam was preparing the Robo Para Double in some order with Clyde. I think that was the plan, but I'm not positive. And his character pool is pretty big, so he can bounce around.
Yeah, I hope he runs that team. I want to see more Parasol.
Speaking of people with new teams, we do also have PME, who I believe he dropped Fuqua from his trio before PME was playing Fortune, Robo, and Fuqua. Fortune, Fuqua, Robo. And now PME's playing, I believe, Fortune, Robo, and Painwheel, right?
PME's been playing in a lot of different teams. Was playing Fortune, like Painwheel Fuqua, Fortune Double Painwheel, and then last time I played PME was Solo Fortune just in a lobby, and then Fortune Robo Double or something like that.
Okay, so maybe PME's got also some teams that he's thinking about as well.
I also see him here playing, I can't remember if you mentioned this, Fortune, Painwheel, Robo.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. I just didn't remember the order, yeah.
And obviously there's kind of some people we haven't seen in a little while. I haven't seen Fosh personally in a hot minute. So
I think Fosh is now on that level of playing Skullgirls at events to hang out with people, as far as I can.
But nice to see Fosh back, and obviously Fosh has always been a pretty good player. So.
And the last thing to mention, I hope FD does well. Just like with Softy, this is both of their first offline majors, I believe, for SG.
For Skullgirls, yeah.
Yeah, for SG, obviously. So I hope both of them do well. So I think you'll both do fine, and I hope you enjoy the tournament.
Yeah, so the D pools are done now, and moving on to E, we have a pretty strong pool, at least pretty decently strong. We have Adivus, Bungo, Chaka Thunder, Dice Drills, Jack Oneson, Joe Mother, Mai.
Oneson.
It's got two E's, friend.
Okay.
Mr. Peck, Stuff, and White Fury. Come on, we got to be proper weebs here. So some strong players to note. Mr. Peck, obviously, a very strong European player. Adives.
So I've actually never seen Adives play Mike Z. I'm actually maybe they won't get like this in bracket, but I really wish I could see them play.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
He played Mike at CEO Taku.
Oh, Maze is Rikusen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Rikusen's actually been playing SG a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's been streaming a bunch, and he's a cool guy. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Solo Peacock. I want to see Rikusen versus a Psychopath, but they're in different brackets. So.
The Solo Peacock mirror match, death match.
Yeah.
Obviously, some players to note: Peck, Adives, like I was saying, Drills, Stuff.
I feel like the story for this is going to be an obvious, like, Adives and Peck will be the favorite to get out in winners, but we don't know who's going to get out in losers, I feel.
So I wanted to see Stuff versus Drills a lot, because I
agree.
Like they're both
That'd be a good match.
Pretty good, and I also feel like the way Stuff plays is going to get like blown up by Squiggly. Just you can't give Squiggly space,
really?
and Stuff gives everyone space. So like,
Actually,
I feel like
remember...
he's just going to get singed, because SoCal doesn't have a Squiggly really. Lingus plays solo now.
Mm-hmm.
Frosty, this is a long time ago, but at Frosty 17, I believe, Stuff beat Drills.
There we go. Okay, so we got a okay. See, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Also, side note, there is a actual SoCal Squiggly player. It's Weatherby.
Oh yeah, forgot about Weatherby.
Yep. He does play very infrequently, so I understand why.
The Weather Boy.
But no, he's there and he's repping the Squiggly Painwheel. So
yeah, that'll be a good set. And now it's a run back, so there's more on the line if they play.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Drills play again in general. Drills is a really cool guy. Hope everyone says hi to him.
Yeah. Drills also really fun to play and hang out with. So E1, pretty decent amount of players in there. Kind of less than some pools in terms of the real killers out there. E2 definitely has some strong stuff in there. Depending on, of course, how on game Sage is. Sage obviously used to be one of our top 1 players, fighting Sonic Fox pretty much year after year for grand final spots. So let's go over the whole thing.
Yeah, so actually Sage won the last Skullgirls major for Frosty Faustings.
Yeah, important to know.
And in case you don't, in case no one, people out here may not know, Sage before, like many like if you like were just entering the FGC, Sage is like a really good Dragon Ball player, but he got one of the games he got his start in, and I think he said it was like probably like one of his favorite games is Skullgirls.
For him and Sonic Fox, yeah, they've said openly like SG is their favorite. So
it's always cool to see him come back and play. I don't know if he ever. I don't know how much he does. He does stream it from time to time.
I asked him yesterday on his stream what team he was playing. He says he's gonna try to play Parasol double mostly. And I think he was playing off stream yesterday because I saw Alucard was like he was showing Alucard how to play Valentine.
So he's going Parasol double.
Parasol Bella. My bad.
Oh, okay. Parasol.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a team I knew him to play.
This is frequently the team he's been trying to play. Yeah, he played a bit at Frosty as well before eventually going to his Bayo trio.
Known for. And let's go over the whole pool though, not exclude anybody.
Yes.
Alcoholic Robot, we have Alex Pie, Aqualord, Sage, of course, Fuzzy Snugs, Mega Man DS, Midi Man, otherwise known as Midi, Mine, also called Jordan, Pancakes, and Turvon.
We're with real names now? Whoa.
Well, Mine is he's gone by Jordan for a while now.
Okay.
I think so, at least. Most people call him Jordan.
Doxing live on stream.
Yeah, live doxing.
But yeah, there's a bunch of. I think this pool is actually kind of full when it comes to good players, or at least like, I mean, maybe not top players, but like I think it's got a lot of really. It's gonna be really tight
in there. Yeah, it's got people who will hold you down and drown you under the water.
Definitely like Fuzzy's. Like Fuzzy's always going to be a solid player, I think, and I don't know how much he's been practicing, but he pretty much does well every CB, or how much he practices.
Yeah, I think he's got a solid shot at top 24 for sure.
He's one of the few NA Squiggly players.
Yep.
And Skullgirls players, but yeah.
And Skullgirls players.
We'll start with
Sage, obviously, if Sage is on his game, then he's pretty much a shoe-in for top 8. But
no, who's getting out losers is going to be a more interesting question.
Yeah, well, it depends if Sage has been practicing actively, because there has been some tournaments where Sage has gone out of pools.
That happened last year at CB. So.
Yeah, so it really depends on if he's playing the game and if he's practicing, because there's people in this pool that could beat Sage if he hasn't practiced.
Yeah, we do have like Turvon here who, like he has been playing a lot and trying to like level up.
Yeah, at the exhibition he killed a lot of people.
Last year at CB he did well.
He's gonna carry me in the 3v3.
So other notable names, obviously we've talked about Sage, Fuzzy, Turvon. We have Mega Man DS.
Mega Man DS, who's always like the upsetter. I don't know what the term is for this, but like
the meme lord cometh.
Yeah, so like he's got a lot of memes about him, but
top 300.
He is a very
top 300.
He's oh gosh, the memes will not end if we don't stop now.
He's a SoCal player who doesn't enter all the time, but when he does pretty well.
He's a very solid fundamentals player.
Some combination of Parasol, Fukua, and Robo.
I think his point. When I saw him last when he was at Salty was point Robo, Fukua, Parasol. But yeah, some combination of those characters. Yeah, then, mostly gets by with his good fundamentals usually.
Yeah, and Midi is another
fundamental player for sure.
SoCal player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Midi Man's fundamentals are insanely good, and he's been grinding. I've seen him asking for a lot of matches.
Yeah, going
over him.
And then we talked about this on the podcast last time, but I think Midi was also okay. Maybe not, but Midi was also maybe we just didn't cover it. But yeah, Midi has also been doing better at Salty lately as well. Had some really good matches versus Mike Z. I think Midi also is going to be whatever comes out of this pool. I think is going to be pretty good. So.
Yeah, and then obviously we have Alcoholic Robot and Mine/Jordan.
Both players not to underestimate. Yeah.
Both players not to sleep on at all. They will kill you quickly. And
if I had to predict a top 3, I'd say Sage, Fuzzy, Turvon, but there's tons of potential for upsets between everyone who's in that top 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For sure. And if we don't go over your name in the pool here, nothing personal to you. We just haven't really heard much about you yet. If you happen to be watching.
Well, Alex Pye's been playing the game for a while.
Oh yeah, we kind of neglected to mention Alex.
Alex Pye might also be in this tier 2, but yeah, this pool is really hard to predict what's going on. So
for sure, there's a lot of players in this pool that could easily win. So let's move on to the H's. We have H1 here. This pool also has some pretty, decently strong players for sure. We have Datagram. Who's this Gelato guy? I've never heard of this clown. Datagram, Dormox, this Gelato guy. Greedy Chun, Krakatoa, Latino Flava as
let's not dox people on stream.
Namby-Pamby, Rodney Red, Sunset Radiance, the 1GE, and Wing Zero. So obviously some really good names in here to mention as well. Notable, Wing Zero, probably the biggest contender for top 8 here.
Yep. But I think Gelato also has a good shot.
Yeah, Gelato won't talk about himself, but we can for him. So
yeah, so I definitely think
talking about this pool.
It's okay, because I definitely think Gelato, he's been improving a lot in the past year, especially since he's changed to his Cilia Slide team. So I definitely think that for sure Wing and Gelato will be getting out of this pool. If not, probably also top 8 potential for sure for either. It just depends on how the bracket goes once we get those, but I would not count Gelato for top 8. Maybe this is his year. We'll see.
For sure. And there's definitely a number of players in here that could take third as well, easily. We have Datagram. We have Greedy Chun, who, like I said, has beat me before. We have a timer going off. Sunset also could take the third spot. So there's a number of people kind of, I think, fighting for.
It's honestly, yeah, just like the last pool, it's going to be tough to determine who's getting out in third.
Very stacked.
We just don't know.
Yeah, quite strong. So I think lots of good players in here. Kind of also didn't mention Krakatoa, old Painwheel player, if I remember correctly. Lots of.
He is the originator of a bunch of Painwheel tech.
Painwheel, Clyde, and like Updo, right?
Yep. He was the original Cilia Slide user.
Froggish model 0.1, right?
Yeah.
I remember. So Krakatoa's from Canada, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember. His tag here is Ontario.
Seeing him in the forums back in the day, and then when I was learning Faust in Guilty Gear, he's really active in the. I think that's mainly what he does nowadays. He plays Faust in Exerd.
Okay.
I know
he was at Frosty, I think.
Yeah, I actually talked to him briefly at Frosty too.
What'd you talk about? Just like, hey,
it was like when I was like during my pool.
Oh, okay. All right. It's just good to see an old player like Krakatoa.
If like I was like, I think I was talking to him. I don't know if he knew he was talking, if he knew who I was, but
maybe not.
Who are you again? Hello.
Don't worry, you'll make your name for yourself this year. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Just kill him in bracket, easy clap. Moving on to the second H pool. We have H2. We have in this pool AC Fan, Big Al, or is that AI?
I think that's Big Al, but
yeah, I can't tell. I's and L's always the worst. I'm assuming that's Big Al. Doppler, Kasparus, Mike Z, Mysterious J, Clawsome, Swift Fox Dash, otherwise known as TJ, Zinan, and Zion. Notable names in this pool. Obviously, TJ is pretty much a shoo-in for top 8, I would say. One of the stronger players. Mike Z also very likely to get out of the pool, has a good chance at least.
So I want to put it this way. I think this pool will depend on where the bracket goes, because we have Mike Z, Doppler, and Clawsome Bombs, and I think all 3 of them could actually get out of winners. It really just depends.
Clawsome Bombs is one of our Chicago players who's been playing a lot. He's been practicing, grinding.
And I think like his team
could make an upset.
Like, he's got Fortune, like Eliza, and I forget who the last character he played. Squiggly.
He does have a bit of a team. He cycles through a lot of different teams, so he'll probably pick his team on the spot depending on who he's playing. But
I think
Fortune is his main character.
Yeah, he's going solo Fortune in the 3v3.
Okay.
Okay.
Basically, I think any of those characters in a good combination can do well versus Mike. I think like Mike might have a problem versus Costum if he faces him.
Interesting stuff. And we also have some other names that could maybe get out. AC Fan and Kasparis as well.
Is Kasparis a Florida player? Yeah.
Kasparis a Florida player. I can talk about him on note. Good friend.
I've never seen him before. What's he play?
Kasparis plays Parasol Robo Fortune Double.
Oh my gosh, Team Liam. Does he play with HP?
I believe he does play with HP, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've played, but he got second at our regional before I left, managing to beat Fredo, which was a really big accomplishment for him because he had not managed to do that at all previously. That was the first tournament where I had somebody challenging me in grand final.
I don't know if you need to explain the Florida power levels a bit to explain.
I can go over it a little bit. So back when the Florida scene was playing, obviously the big names would be Rabble, but he's in South Florida, so he doesn't get to make it up as much. And then in Central Florida / Tampa, where we played, that was where most of our scene was, where we had Turvon, myself, Fredo, Sox, that crew. So we had quite a strong scene, but most people have kind of quit playing Skullgirls or play it off and on.
So Fredo was like one of the better players among you guys, and then to have Kasparis come out and beat him is pretty significant,
Yeah, so I would not count him out ever. He's a tenacious player. He's not going to give up, and he can make some comebacks. And so
nice.
I would keep an eye out for him.
Cool.
And that's enough fluffing up my Florida boys. I'm expecting you guys to go out and power. Do it for me.
We got a Chicago and a Florida bump. Yeah.
So H2, my prediction for my heart, at least, is that I want to see TJ, Mike, and Kasparis get out, but we'll see if that happens.
I think it all depends on the bracket. I have no idea.
Yeah, it is heavily going to depend on the bracket, which we do not have, unfortunately. So, moving on to Pool I, we have 2Z, Buck Yo-Yo, Cloud, Q and Chris, Death Dog, Mocha Panda, Mocha Panda.
Isn't it Mocha?
Yeah, it might be Mocha.
Okay.
Mocha Panda, Sev, Socks, Sploogie McNoodle, and the Crank Machine.
This is perhaps the most stacked pool.
So I think this is like the most stacked pool we have in CB. That's kind of funny.
It's a killer pool for sure. Like, we don't have very many names up here, but the names that we do have up here are quite strong.
So definitely, like, I can't even predict who's going to get out in winners between Cloud, Sox, Sev, and Sploogie, maybe even Buck. I think any of these players really can have a chance to. Well, I mean, Cloud, I think, is probably going to be definitely getting out, but
I think Cloud is the favorite for winners, but he could come out in losers. I think.
Yeah.
Sox has a chance.
Players. Sorry.
So my personal power level for this pool that I'll go over real quick is that I think Cloud is the favorite, and then I think number 2 is Sox personally, because Sox always has this thing where people like to not drum up hype for him, but he's always a really super consistent top 8 performer. Like, at all these majors, he always tends to make top 24.
I don't know why people overlook Sox, but he's always been solid.
Yeah, Sox has always been an insanely good player. I should know, coming from Florida, I've played him in the scene a bunch. He's obviously a super great guy, really good player. So, personally, I would rate the pool as Cloud, Sox, Sev, Sploogie, because also Sploogie is also a very good player as well.
Sploogie is going to be probably the biggest underdog in this.
Yeah, well, kind of like the underdog, but like also like the black sheep kind of.
Yeah, like most like wild card, because they're a SoCal player. I think they mostly play under night, but when they do enter, there's a Wednesday night fight tournament. I don't know, I can't remember exactly who showed up, but
everyone
was really good.
As a matter of fact, I was at that WNF.
He was.
It was Wing there?
No.
No.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Everyone but Wing, and Sploogie just like one and done SoCal.
But yeah, like
Bananas, really Bang, and JMZ, and JMZ beat Sploogie in winners, but Sploogie got JMZ in the reset and beat him in grand finals.
And they played I can't remember what order, but Parasol Beowulf.
Parasol Beowulf, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Beowulf Parasol, depending on some team orders that they play against. But yeah, obviously a super big wild card for this bracket, and also notable that they entered an SG as well.
Yeah, so they basically won and done the SoCal scene. They just won that Wednesday night fights, and it's like, yep, that's it. I'm good.
Makes the gas money.
which I love. I love that nature. It also makes me wish I could see another California player play against them. Yeah. Now it says Buck Yo-Yo is California, but I don't think Buck Yo-Yo is SoCal.
NorCal? Probably NorCal.
He might be.
Basically, it's like SoCal, but it could be like further. Because SoCal is gigantic. You could
SoCal
away from.
Basically, I want to see Sploogey versus our typical salty crew, and I want to get them. Yeah. I want them to have their run back versus.
When we're talking about the SG SoCal scene, in general, we mean people around the LA area, the greater LA area. So that is generally where the SoCal scene, the quote unquote SoCal scene, takes place. So, also ought to be interesting.
Sev is going to debut her new team, Beowulf Double Big Bang.
Oof. Well, I wouldn't say it's exactly new at this point, but I think it's new.
Well,
it's new from last year.
Yeah, major.
Yeah. Was it the first major? Has Sev been to?
Sev signed up for Frosty this year, but didn't show up. So this is going to be the first major.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this will be the first major that Sev is playing the Bayo team.
Yeah, I think she's been working on it for a while, but like. It's the type of team that'll just make you explode.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the
Bayo A-Train stuff.
It's the kill. It's the bracket destroyer function. To be honest, like flip a coin a couple of times up. I guess you flipped wrong enough. You're dead.
Yeah, I think this is kind of Sev's best team that they've ever played in SG. Maybe not in SG overall, because the team Sev played back in SD was pretty busted. But for at least the current SG, that Second Encore Plus. I think this is Sev's best team, and probably one of the best teams in the game, honestly. It does huge damage, great characters, and it's going to do well. I think Sev is actually one of my picks for top 8. And
it's a really safe team as well. I definitely would have Sev, even though my power ranking has it as Cloud and Sox in the top 2, I think Sev could easily beat either of them.
I think Sev's big worry isn't even Sox, it's going to be Sploogey.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like sometimes Sev has issues with kind of just randomly losing to certain players.
Yes, there's a notable history of Sev with being upset on. Yes.
Yeah, I really can't describe it as just other than randomly losing. Sorry, no offense to Sev.
No offense to Sev. It's happened to me as well, and I'm always sad to see it happen to Sev. So.
Yeah.
Don't think anyone's a stranger to that emotion.
But I think this is This is my big prediction. I think this is Sev's year. I think Sev's going to do well.
I could definitely see that as well. Isn't it 3 gets out?
Yeah, top
3 gets out.
Is it 2 winners, 1 losers?
Yes.
I thought it was 1 winner, 2 loser.
It's 1 winner.
Yeah, it's 1 winner, 2 loser.
Oh, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, play the winners finals.
You play winners finals, and then loser of winner finals automatically.
Automatically.
Okay.
You're guaranteed a spot into top 24 if you're in winners finals.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So I could easily see Sev getting out in either second or third place. I think the 3 that get out for me without any upsets, barring any upsets, is Cloud, Sox, Sev. But we've talked about this pool for a little, and we can go over predictions for each pool a bit later as well.
Sure.
This might be the one pool that gets changed.
Yeah, this could be.
This
pool's
so stacked.
Yeah, so. It's really stacked. The next pool, is this an I or an L also?
It's an I.
I.
It's an I? Okay. So in I2, we have Elda Toluda, Herb, Kai, Kitty Doll with Glasses, otherwise known as Verdant, Ninja Please, Rabble Flaggers, Sanji, Skull Kid, Snurd, and Some Person. Notable names in this pool, Elda Toluda, obviously a pretty good favorite to get out as well.
Elda Toluda's are one of the best players of the game, the best Chicago player historically.
He's been in every CB top 8 he's entered.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Super consistent player, super strong. Painwheel, Fortune, Bella, if you haven't seen him play. But I hope he does well. But I think some life stuff hindered him from playing the game recently.
Oh, even more than normal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Toluda's
always been a solid
player.
Count him out. Yeah, Tulu's always been a solid player, but
I played him the other week, and pretty much, people of that caliber don't drop off easily, So
yeah. I mean, he's always kind of played infrequently, but yeah, if something has happened to him recently, then hopefully everything's okay. And
it's nothing bad. It's just busy.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I feel it too. So
yeah. For sure. For me too. I'm not coming to Combo Breaker for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I will see everyone at Otaku hopefully. But other notable names, we have Rabble. Obviously, has made top 4 at majors before and has been a pretty solid.
Yeah. So last year was really Rabble's year.
It was.
He made top 8 Combo Breaker.
Made top 4
in top 4. Sorry, I can't remember the exact results. Pretty sure top 4 in Otaku too, right?
Yeah.
And they actually, I can't remember how many times. If it was once or twice, they beat Sonic Fox in bracket.
They beat Sonic at least once.
At least once.
I can't remember if it was the second time.
I think there was, but I don't remember.
I think he sent him to losers once, but he might have beat him in an online tournament as well, and sent him to losers there as well. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Super strong player. At Otaku, he made his debut with his new team, which added Painwheel mid, so he played this Beowulf Painwheel big man with A-Train. Definitely a player to watch out for and make top 8.
So is he going with Painwheel the whole time? Is that what he said?
I believe so.
Yeah, he said he wanted to try it, but we'll see how that shakes out.
I don't think his Painwheel is something...
Wait, he didn't play Painwheel at Otaku, right?
No.
I don't believe he did, and not at least in top 8.
Not in the top 8.
Okay. I'm wrong then.
Again, the rule set with these tournaments means you're a little bit flexible, at least in terms of what team you play. You're not exactly character locked, so...
Yeah, I do think his Painwheel is nothing to sleep on. It's a pretty solid Painwheel, and definitely Big Band with Painwheel is always going to be a strong team.
Yeah, it's a powerful shell. Most things with Big Band are a powerful shell.
Yeah.
Other notable names, we have Sanji, SP, and then kind of like the black sheep maybe could take somebody out is Ninja Please. But I think my personal top 3 for this pool is Elder Rabble and Sanji. But SP could also take a spot out.
I agree. I think those are going to be the solid top 3. I think whether or not it's going to come down, I think, to SP and Sanji, how well they can deal with each other. And kind of more so, how does SP handle Sanji? Because Sanji is a very eccentric player. If you don't have practice against a player like him, it's going to be a rough time. So
yeah, for sure.
And I don't know how much in practice.
Hard team to play against.
Yeah, Sanji's going to be going in with the Point Big Band, Peacock, and Big Beowulf, most likely, which is a very solid team. Very annoying to deal with, especially with the way Sanji plays. Very up back, very defensive.
Here comes the neutral.
Yeah. So hopefully you get all your Point Big Band practice ready. So.
Yeah, get it ready because it's certainly it's weird to play against because most people don't run Point Band, and it's kind of hard to get practice against it with certain neutral assists because he can feel really oppressive in just terms of how much space he controls. So now that we've gone over the names and all the pools, we'll start with some predictions we've kind of brushed on it already, but I kind of want some official predictions from people in terms of who they think is going to get out of each pool. So D1, let's go in order, as a matter of fact. So we can start with myself. So in Pool D1, I think that Sonic Fox, Shaky, and... The third is hard. I'm going to root for Softy. I'm going to say
your words
Softy.
carefully.
I'm going to say Softy. Don't root for Psychopath, please, because he's my other Shaky. Also, shout out to Psychopath. Really cool dude. We met him last year at Combo Breaker in Chicago. Awesome guy.
Made top 8 at Frosty as well.
Yeah. So, cool guy. Not rooting against you or anything, but I gotta put my boy Softy there. So, Sonic, Shaky, and Softy, I hope you make it to top 24. Good luck. What are your thoughts, Gelato?
That's basically my prediction as well. Sonic Fox, Shaky, Softy, as long as Red Witch and Psychopath could make potential upsets.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely can. No one should count out Psychopath for sure because he's made upsets in the past.
Yeah, don't count him out.
All right, Fencer, your thoughts?
I agree. Sonic Fox, Shaky, and Softy are my picks. Maybe to put it more specifically, I actually think that I would put Softy above Shaky. I think Softy's been really grinding out a lot, and I think Shaky definitely has a lot of very interesting, good Robotech out there, but I don't think that tech is going to last versus any of the Fuqua stuff that Softy has. That stuff is scary.
The last time I played Shaky, it was one of my favorite, but it was online, and I'm pretty sure he was like super wasted. So I can't really like. That was like a week or two ago, but I can't really.
That's the real talk.
I can't judge anything on that.
I'm still gonna believe in the power of Fuqua. This is the Fuqua power bracket right here.
The Fuqua power bracket.
It really is actually.
We have
power hour.
We
Sonic,
have
Softy, POS, yeah.
Sonic and you.
Yeah, we
and Red.
Well, the D pool in total, we have PME and D as well, and D2.
And Rev.
Yeah.
And Rev, yeah, the Fuqua Power Hour. The council.
Fuqua.
Yeah, it's not
the council assembled.
Hopefully they can all kill each other off. So us Robos can live.
Only the strongest can survive.
Believe in all my Robo players out there.
Well, speaking of Robo players and Fuqua players, let's talk about D2 since... Oh, wait, Softy, we need your prediction.
Well, my prediction is that Dango's going to get put in this pool, and I'm going to lose to Dango and Shaky and go 0-2. That's my prediction.
Right.
Okay.
Solid prediction.
Okay.
So, in pool D2... we have for my getting out, I'm gonna go with Liam, PME, Fosh.
Okay, Gelato next.
Oh yeah. My prediction for this one was Liam, PME, and Ravioli.
Oh really? You gonna put Ravioli or Fosh?
Yeah.
I actually agree. I put Liam, PME, and Ravioli.
I'm outnumbered. Softy, back me up here.
Okay, so I haven't really seen Fosh play in a while. But I've watched Ravioli play a lot, so that's like for me, bias. It's hard to like.
Yeah, it is a film.
What team does Fosh play?
Really already biased.
Bella double.
Bella double. Yeah.
It's actually point double, right?
Okay, double Bella.
I don't know what order.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say Fosh just so we're on 50-50 split.
Hell yeah.
But I think Liam and PME is pretty even.
I think it kind of depends on how good Fosh is that day. I think Fosh is a very solid player who definitely can make good upsets when he can, or I think in general maybe he's better than Ravi, but it just depends on how good Fosh is feeling that day, because I think Fosh has bad days.
Or if Fosh has practiced any or not.
It is bracket pools. Like there's a chance that they don't even or never even play. Like one of them can get an upset on PME and they never even play at all. So
yeah it's not like everyone plays everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
No round robins.
Yeah.
No round robins.
But I definitely think PME and Liam will be solid enough that they'll.
Yeah.
I think they can handle what they got. So.
All right. I think we're mostly in agreement with a little bit of a split on who takes third of Ravi or Fosh. E1. I'm gonna go with Heck, Adivas, and Stuff.
Same. That's my exact prediction. Jules could potentially make an upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Drills in the upset slot.
Yeah.
Wasn't Drills in an online tournament recently?
Yeah.
You were there, right? Who did Drills lose to? Do you remember?
I Control and...
JP?
Yeah, I think I Control and JP. No, it was just JP twice then, because that was... Okay, yeah. JP beat him in winners, and then Drills I almost beat JP, and I fucked it up, and then Drills beat me in losers, and then JP beat Drills. I think that was how it went.
Okay, that was like pretty confusing
in the week.
Okay, I guess it doesn't help me out that much, but I'm based on that, I guess I have to agree. I think it's gonna be a solid peck out of Ace and Stuff. I want to believe in Drills, but I think he's kind of out of practice and still. I think full power Drills maybe could get it out.
Yeah,
but I think Drills is very inconsistent nowadays.
Yeah, EX Drills.
Yeah, EX Drills. Maybe if he turns it on at CB, I think he's a very solid player and got a really good team. But Squiggly and Eliza is a very good team.
So I was gonna. This is completely just like personal bias because I played both Stuff and Drills recently, and like me and Stuff, I think it was just a random quick match set, and it was like 3-2 me. But Drills fucked me up, so I'm gonna vote for Drills.
Okay, Drills is very solid. I want to point that out. So yeah. I just can't fully commit to how practice he's gonna be. If I could, I would believe in him.
Yeah, Drills is really a wild card just based on if they've been preparing or not.
Yeah. So the big thing about Skullgirls, I think, anytime you're making predictions, is that as long as the players are in a relative same skill bracket, that you can basically assume that a lot of the matches are just going to be up to coin flips. Really, it's
coin
very
flips
hard.
And Rust.
Coin flips and Rust and practice, but it's kind of a meme. But then again, it isn't. obviously you have a higher percentage chance of winning if you're just the better player that day, but sometimes you just get hit and you die and you lose without getting to press a button.
This is
it's a volatile game. Like
it's really just the nature of the game. Yeah, and the 3 out of 5 is still not super big. Like,
no, it's really quick.
Thank goodness 2 out of 3 isn't the tournament standard for SG. Because
so here's the real question: when are we going to go to the new Marvel 3 tech, which is
5 out of 7?
No, it's 4
out of 7 unless it's a 3-0.
It's 4 out of 7 unless it's a 3-0.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it's got a mercy option here.
It's a mercy option basically. So I like that format, but yeah, it is.
That is an interesting.
That's interesting, actually. I forgot about that.
It's considerable. So let's get some. So I think are we all mostly in agreement here?
Yes.
Barring Softy with the drills.
Yeah,
pick,
that's fair.
Which I think is also fair. I think it's
completely.
Let's talk about E2. So this pool, I have Sage, Fuzzy, and it's a real big toss-up for me between Turvan and Mega Man DS.
Okay.
I'm going to commit to a choice here, and I'm going to say Mega Man DS, because although Turvan can kill a lot of people, I do know that he has tournament nerves. So there's been times where he's kind of underperformed a tournament because of it.
Yeah, I mean, Sage and Fuzzy are my top 2, and again, between Turvan, Mega Man DS, maybe even MIDI. Maybe we've seen Mega Man DS play MIDI, but I'm kind of trying to think how Turvan would do against Mega Man. I think Turvan might take it, but I can't really commit to a choice.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Turvan, while he can be really, really great sometimes, has that era of inconsistency that some of the other, like, what you consider top players don't have. Although he's been getting better about it.
So, yeah,
I'll say Turvan just to kind of use Mega Man DS, but also I do believe he could take it.
Okay.
Understandable.
So obviously I'm gonna go with Sage and Fuzzy like normal. Unless Fuzzy is just that. Unless both Sage and Fuzzy are that rusty, which I can't predict. I'm just gonna go with them as solid picks right now. But I think it's a solid Mega Man DS. Partially because, one, I believe in Mega Man DS. I think he's a solid player. And also because I don't think Turvan knows how to play against Robo very well. And I think Mega Man DS does... He can play Robo pretty well. He's got some tech. He knows some things about how to play Robo.
Well, the thing about that is they might not meet in the bracket, though. We don't know that.
Yeah, we also don't know that either. So, but I think in general, I believe in Mega Man DS the most. So I'm going to put my faith in him.
A fellow Mega Meme DS fan.
Let's see. I think Sage, Fuzzy for sure. And I think it's going to be 7 p.m. on a Friday. Alcoholic Robot is going to cruise on up there with a flask of whiskey and Speo Band through the whole pool.
Oh my god, just destroys the whole pool.
You bring up a good point.
Is unconscious for top 8, gets DQ'd. That's the timeline. The timeline. All right, that's my
real.
I like this prediction.
Can I change my vote to the new timeline?
We didn't consider this factor.
We haven't considered the alcoholic robot factor.
Bayo Band's good, dude.
Bayo Band is good. It can run through a bracket just to die. So, as much as I would like to believe in that timeline, I think I do have to stick with my original one. It's a respectable timeline. So, H1. I think we all got our predictions in for E2, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, H1, Gelato will probably refrain from this one, but for me, I'm going to do...
I'll speak on prediction.
Oh, okay. All right. Confident.
It's not a hot take or anything, but...
I think I'm going to do Wing, Gelato, and then it's a toss-up between Sunset and, like, Greedy Chun, because Sunset, I think, is overall better, but also has a lot of confidence problems and some tournament nerves. I'm going to go with Wing, Gelato, and Greedy Chun, actually. Controversial pick here, but I'll go for that.
Yeah, I forgot Greedy was in this pool. I was going to say Wing, me, and then Sunset, but I do think Greedy has the potential to make an upset.
And Data Graham as well. He's also in that kind of running, I think.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'll go counter to both of you guys where I believe in Wing, Gelato, and Sunset. I think just her teams in general are going to do well versus most of the players here. Even Greedy Chen, I think. Nerves do get to her, but I think it'll be fine. But we'll see. That's my pick.
I really don't. It's hard to say because I haven't seen Greedy outside of majors play other people outside our scene. But he is a really strong player, so
it's true. And we do see Sunset play against a bunch of people in other scenes. I think she's been grinding. She's trying to get out there enough. I don't know. I think we'll see.
Yeah, I think she's been playing more than Greedy has.
Yeah.
Also, I've seen Greedy been asking for games on PSN Discord. So
does he play mostly on PSN?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw him with the PSN crew.
Then maybe he does play Sunset.
But I mean, I don't think he hasn't been net playing nearly as long as Sunset has. So.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm personally biased because I did get knocked out of bracket by Greedy once. So.
I think I'm gonna vote Wing Gelato Sunset. I think that's a pretty like safe guess. But there's plenty of potential upsets. It depends on how rusty Krakatoa is, how on point Latito Flava is, and if Datagram or Dormox kind of pull off a big upset. Anything's possible here.
Oh yeah, Datagram also is quite good when he's practiced. I don't know how much he's been playing the game recently compared to like Eunice, but he does at least play every Slotfest. So I definitely could put Datagram up there. Like I think 3 is a much bigger of a toss-up in this pool than 1 and 2. So
obviously, yeah.
All right, and we got Gelato's prediction, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So we're gonna move on to H2 then. I think it's basically TJ's getting out in winners. I think we can all just go ahead and say that as a shoo-in, right? Unless anyone has a hot take here.
Completely agree.
2 for me. Like I said, I said it already. I want to see this timeline. I want to see TJ, Mike, and Kasper's get out. That's my favorite.
All right. Well, I want to see the Chicago timeline.
Here we
go. Mike and Klossum, because I don't think I actually didn't know this till later, but Klossum, I don't want to say anything incorrect. I believe Klossum beat Full Bleed at Frosty.
Oh wow!
And yeah, I was like Doppler would be my other choice. So it's I think if Doppler and Klossum fight, it'd be a toss up.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun one to see.
That'd be a good match.
They are both Midwest, so maybe.
And it's also Doppler fighting another Fortune player.
Yeah. But he has a lot of experience with that. So, he used to play Fortune himself, too. So
that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so for my pick, I guess I'm going to go controversial, but I'm going to throw this out there. I think Mike isn't going to get out of pools. I don't think Mike's ever made it out of a CB pool. Maybe someone can double-check me on that. I feel like he hasn't. He definitely... I mean... Maybe I'm wrong, and
he made it out last year.
That
over
wrong,
Doppler, actually.
Oh, did he?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, over Doppler, so that might get changed up.
Yeah, so I think, in general, I think he's not getting out. I think, like, this year, I think Doppler's got it.
Doppler made it out. Mike beat Sanji to make it out last year.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember them talking about that match where Sanji just kind of flubbed it, and... But no, I still stand by what I'm going to say, because I think Klossum Bombs has a good matchup versus Mike Z's team. And I think Doppler I think his team actually does well versus Mike in terms of... I think, let me put it this way, I think Doppler knows how to deal with Mike's team. Whether or not he harnesses it, I don't know. But I think he can do well. But we'll see what Doppler does. I think Point Big Band in general is what Doppler should be using. And I think it will do well versus Mike, because Bella struggles, I think, versus Point Big Band stuff.
Yeah, it's a weird matchup. It's kind of got a lot of nuance to it. But
and I think Doppler's plenty in practice, not like maybe super 100%, who knows, but I think Doppler has done well. He's done upsets himself. He's a pretty solid player. I believe in him. Partly because Midwest, I'm believing in my own brethren here, but
this is the bias pick here.
I'm pulling up for my Midwest boys here, so let's go. Let's go Doppler and Klossum.
All right. Good thing there's no Arizona boys here for Softy to.
If Fizz came this year,
yeah, that would be good.
I'm voting. I think TJ Doppler Mike. I think Doppler's just gonna make it out second, and I think 2 out of 3 Mike is just way too strong. Just the way he plays.
You mean 3 out of 5?
Yes, that's what I meant. 3 out of 5.
Okay. Japanese Mike.
Also in this pool, I want to give a special shout out to Zenon, another he's a new Chicago player who completely to my surprise, they came to locals one day and then played like 80 games with me like the first time I met him.
Yeah.
He's for someone who I've never seen before, he's really good. So he could make an upset. I don't think he'll crack the top 3 of this pool, but he could upset a well-known like mid-level player.
Everyone keep an eye on Zenon right here. Zenon? How do you?
I don't. Zenon.
Okay.
They play Parasol double.
All right.
Solid team.
So, interesting predictions for this pool. Yeah, it's kind of. I think most people are just hoping for their timeline here. This one's got some less competition. So I won. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Cloud, Sox, and Sev are my picks now. Cloud, obviously, sometimes tournament shit happens to Cloud. I can't describe it other than tournament shit.
Yep.
But
that's not going to prevent him from not.
That won't prevent him from getting out of pools. He's obviously an extremely good player. Easy shoe-in for top 4 a lot of the time. Just depends on if he gets out in winners or losers, really. So I got Cloud at 1. Sox, I have it 2 because I think he can be the person to put Cloud into losers if it happens. And also, he's my boy, you know? He's my boy and he's good. I'm not feeling real biased in my Sox second pick, to be honest. So, I have him there, and then Sev at 3rd because Sev's obviously a really strong player, and her team is very, very good. Just kills you in a couple touches. Really, it's kind of a bracket destroyer team like most Bayo Band teams are. You can just get run through easy. So that's why I have it as I have it. And Splugy is like my underdog / potential upset machine there.
So I'm gonna say Cloud first, then Sev, then toss up between Splugy and Sox. Though all 4 of them are really strong, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. So I actually
with Buck Yo-Yo potential wild card.
Yeah. Definitely the wild card for this is going to be difficult. So, my top pick is actually Sev. I mean, Cloud I think is generally the more consistent player, but I just believe in Sev's new team that much that I think it's gonna do well. So I'm gonna bet it all on Sev. So I got Sev, Cloud, and Sox for me.
All right.
I think I'm gonna have to say Cloud, Sev, Sox.
Cloud, Sev, Sox.
Yeah.
All right. I put more faith in my boy Sox, but he's at least in 3rd for most of y'all's.
Yep.
So I think we're all mostly in agreement on that, but I definitely think that all of us know that Splugy can make a comeback or not.
Absolutely, Splugy can make a scene. Yeah, I think Buck Yo-Yo absolutely could make a scene too.
Yeah, Buck also could do it as well. I think I put him at less chance than Splugy, but definitely up there.
I actually I believe in. So we'll see with Splugy. We'll have to see how strong. I think Splugy has some gimmicks.
I can't wait to see them play.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Splugy does.
I think if Sev is going to get knocked out of the bracket by anyone, it's going to be Splugy.
Absolutely, I think 100%. If there's someone Sev has to watch out for, it's going to be Splugy.
What was Twerk saying? Like playing Splugy for the first time, you're never ready.
Oh no. Yeah. He definitely has a blow you up style, and he can easily have you shook and read like a book if you're not paying attention. So I too, my pick is going to be basically how we have them here: Elda, Rabble, and Sanji, with the potential upset from SP or Ninja.
Do you think Elda will beat Rabble?
I think Elda will beat Rabble.
So remember last year, I believe it was
at the exhibition.
Winners, Rabble beat Toluta, and then Toluta beat Rabble in losers.
Yeah, it was Elda.
They went back and forth.
Yeah, and Elda also beat Rabble in the exhibition match that we had.
Right.
The 5v5v5 of faded cheating. Florida for sure won that. Turvon soloed it.
But you're still thinking here it's going to be Elda over Rabble.
Yeah, I think it's Elda over Rabble.
Okay.
Personally. Although I could easily see Rebel beating Elda, I just think that Elda's team is better.
It's definitely top two, Toluta and Rebel. And then Sanji third.
Yeah, I'm completely agreement. That's my top three.
Yeah, but I think most of the stuff about this pool is going to be in what order you put them.
And I actually agree about Toluta versus Rabble, but only because I think Rabble's new team, with the pain wheel added on, it's a good team, but I don't think it's going to work that well versus Toluta's team.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. The thing that clinches the matchup for me is that Elda has beaten Rabble before, and Rabble's beaten Elda before, but I think that Elda's team is just better than Rabble's current team.
Yeah.
The one he plans to play.
And I'm hoping that
Rabble's also been grinding a lot.
That is true.
Yeah.
Since last Common Breaker.
If Elda's in shape, I'm sure the whole rust will be the same roundabout. I don't know. This is a hard one.
I think Rabble can take it over Elda. If Elda hasn't been able to play a lot, and Rabble's been grinding, and I hate playing Painwheel into A-Train, but now he's got to play Painwheel into A-Train, but also ARM into install, and that's
yes.
I think
so you're gonna go with
Rabble, Elda, Sanji.
Okay.
All right. Did we ever get Gelato? I think you had the same three, but what was your top 1 and 2?
I can't tell which one will be top 1 and 2 between Rabble and Toluta, and then Sanji.
There, no vote, no confidence.
No comment.
Vote of no confidence here.
Okay.
All right.
Just put it up for your boy Toluta. Come on, you should come.
Yeah, put it up for your boy.
Yeah. I don't want to talk him down, but
pick the timeline that you want to see. Then, if you can't.
The timeline I want is Toluta.
Look, you got two options. You got either your online brethren.
It really is though. Yeah.
All right, so we'll have a vote for no confidence for Gelato here for the pool predictions, and so. I think that's what we have for our pre-combo breaker segment, but before we sign off here, we took a community poll from your questions and answers, and we took them, and we're going to be answering them now. We'll go ahead and start off with questions for the Opinion Dash group, so us three hosts. Also, you can speak up if you want to, Gelato, if it matters to you. What do you think what do you all think are the best resources for people to use when learning the game? Questions for us. You can go ahead and answer Finster and Softy. I'll offer mine at the end.
So, ironically, like the thing I'm going to say is something that didn't exist back when I started playing, but is absolutely the thing that I constantly use now, and the thing that I basically did back then, which is just look at VODs constantly. I would just look at all the players, all the good players, and copy what they did. So I'm going to say Tuna with Bacon is by far the best resource for learning SG, because what helps is basically just seeing how the game works and then just doing what they do. That is just purely what I would say is going to help you the most. Frame data, all technical knowledge is going to help too, but just watching the game I think is the most important. So Tuna with Bacon for sure.
I'm going to say I think that like the in-game tutorials are nice to get kind of the basics, but honestly, like if you're struggling with like the combos in the trials, don't worry about it. Hit the wiki, find like the easy BNB, get that down, and then, as Spencer said, watch some videos, grasp how other players play the neutral for your characters, and then kind of build off of that and find your own style that way. But don't worry too much about what the game's saying, because like the feedback that you get should be more like internal, not that the game told you did the combo. It should be like, okay, I feel like I know how to play better.
Mm-hmm. Can I chime in on this one?
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, I agree. Like watching videos is very good way to learn. And the wiki is more good for reference, not for learning. I would only use like to get a question about something and then go look it up. But like something that's also crucial to learning is having friends to play with that you can ask for games a lot and just like talk about the game with. So I would say like one of the better like good resources is any of the Skullgirls Discords out there. Just like don't this is kind of what I did back in the day, but like don't just lurk, just like don't be afraid to ask questions and like use other people as like a resource, as like someone to bounce ideas off of and go back and forth, and talking about the game will be helpful for learning as well.
Sure.
If I can add on one other thing too, like Gelato brought up a good point, which is just in general feedback or the process of getting better. Another kind of useful tool, not everyone needs this, but something that helps you understand neutral or just footsies or how to be a solid player. Everyone needs like some way to get that. You can get that through either reading. What I did, I actually started off like reading like guidebooks from like, you know, if anyone remembers Sonic Hurricane and the Footsies Handbook, I read that before I even started playing. But you can start off by like watching players with good footsies. You can start off by like talking about it. Someone needs some way to like understand that neutral happens in its concrete decisions, and that you have to think about all sorts of options as you do. Whatever gets you thinking about those options in whatever manner is what is a good resource. So I'm going to say one other resource I think that's really good for that is to just watch, in my opinion, a classic video, which is the Juicebox video on footsies, for what he did for Street Fighter 4. I love that video a lot, and I like show it all the time. I agree with like most of it, and I think it's really good for just kind of explaining. It's really good for setting up the building blocks of how neutral works, of how decisions layer up and how they're made. Not everything applies to SG, but in general, the foundations will apply to almost every fighting game. In terms of how you make decisions, how do you adapt, how does a fighting game work? So I very strongly recommend watching that video.
I definitely like big agree with that. Like I feel like neutral is the hardest concept to grasp, but know that it's not magic. Like there is a concrete like decision making like process behind it, like that it's not gonna like affect every single little decision, but like there's a basis of like knowledge for it.
Let me put it this way, something that I feel helped me a lot is when I understood neutral. I saw that video and it made me start thinking about neutral. So it doesn't have to be that video, but I feel like everyone needs that something. For me,
it's something that is hard to get a grasp on, and even for experienced players, it's just something you build up over time while you are playing.
So. Yeah, definitely. And I think most of what's been said about it can be said, so my answer is essentially a combination of everyone else's. We spent a little bit of time on that question. So moving forward, here's a question for Gelato from one of the viewers. What is the hardest part about keeping up with tuna with bacon?
The hardest part is I was a dummy and didn't automate this. So I've been more busy recently, so I haven't been updating it as quickly, but I do get around to everything everyone sends, so I guess it's just getting to what people send me.
All right. And that was a question that our viewers answered, but most viewers, when asked one of the viewers rather, when asked the question, who do you think is going to pull the biggest upset at Combo Breaker, says don't know. So thank you for your contribution.
I too am rooting for don't know.
I too am rooting for don't know. Second question for the Opinion Dash group: will you interview other top players from the European scene at some point? Nepros, Big Man Pro 69, and Sanji. Me and Fister were deciding what to do for the response for this, and I think we decided that we were going to just put out a kind of announcement or just kind of tell you our stance on the matter. So, Fister, why don't you start with your thoughts?
So the way, in general for this podcast, we're fine with taking on a lot of people from the community, top players or community leaders or interesting people like Gelato, whoever is around and whoever we think would be interesting. So, and especially from different regions as well. We want to get regional representation, like EU, like we have with Mr. Peck, someone from Oceania, maybe someone from Japan if we ever get someone. The door is open, so everything's on the table. Just because we haven't asked you doesn't mean we're not thinking about you. It probably just means we haven't planned that far ahead. But no, we're fine with taking on any player. It's just a matter of making sure we have a diverse cast that everyone can enjoy. So,
essentially, my same exact thoughts.
So yeah, we'll probably get to an EU top player at some point, besides Mr. Peck. So just hold on to your seatbelts, everyone.
Yep. And so thank you for the question. And the question for Gelato is tuna with bacon viable, or do you need more fundings and donations to keep it alive?
Oh no, it's fine. I don't need any donation support. The hosting is not expensive.
All right.
Is that what I was talking about? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no problem.
Maybe just more time, but yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can help tuna with bacon in other ways, like
if you want to help this, timestamp videos.
Timestamp videos. If like Gelato's mentioning, if you have any experience programming, talk to Gelato.
Save your VODs.
If you want to help out the site and contribute to it in other ways, yeah, I'm open to working with other people. So just hit me up.
And this user, for who they thought was going to pull the biggest upset of Combo Breaker was Sanji, and they included the prey emoji.
Sanji, I think, is definitely capable of making a big upset, but we'll see.
For sure. So, questions for the Opinion Dash group. What is our favorite pizza topping? Finster.
So, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, everyone.
Oh, you're gonna say pineapple, aren't you? You fucking scumbag.
I'm sorry.
It's alright. I'm not much more of a degenerate myself when I get to my answer, so I'll let it slide.
Okay. It is in fact pineapple, yeah. It's so tasty.
Alright, Softy. I'll save mine for last because I'm sure people are gonna have a reaction.
I'm kind of picky with my pizza because I was born on the East Coast, but I live in Arizona, and pizza here is trash. So I love a good white pizza with green peppers on it. Green peppers or mushrooms are my favorite pizza toppings.
Yeah, dude.
Green peppers are really good.
Green pepper is underrated topping. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's good.
Alright, mine is gonna have some people up in arms. I like anchovies on my pizza.
Oh, gross.
I love anchovies on my pizza.
I will
order myself a pizza at a party. I will order the smallest pizza.
If you get a deep dish pizza with anchovies, we are done.
Not deep dish. I get on thin crust.
Just throw it in trash.
But you like pineapple. You're not allowed to criticize my choices. I refrained from criticizing your choices.
Because it wasn't anchovy.
You have pineapple! Mine's at least a meat. Not a fruit.
Hey,
Alright, sorry, I got passionate about that. Anchovies are a great pizza topping. Let me know in the comments. You all are.
Please put your favorite pizza topping in the comments.
Yeah. Question for Gelato this week. What's with the nickname? Where'd your name come from? We have a couple of repeats, so we'll be skipping all the rest since there was a couple people in here who asked.
So I chose the handle Gelato because it's phonetically similar to my real name. And
there we go. That's the answer, folks.
Tasty.
Nothing too special there. So this user thought the biggest upset of Combo Breaker would be PME, Mr. Peck, or Sev are going to go far. I think we all agree that these people are. I don't know if it's
pretty much.
That's a lukewarm take.
They do include. They did include questioning if it was really upsets at all, but yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
And even saying potentially, one of them will make top 4. I don't think saying Peck will make top 4 is like a hot take. That's like a pretty. I think 60% chance.
I agree. It's pretty possible. Peck is a really good player. I think he's getting really solid.
Yeah. So, moving on to another question for the Opinion Dash group. What the best way to create a SG offline-based community? So, I guess he's talking about if any of us have done any community building or what we think the best way is.
So I did a lot of this with Smash because helped build like our local Smash scene a lot. So I could talk about this forever. So I'll be succinct. Basically, and I'm gonna be doing this with like after Breaker and try to get an Arizona Skullgirls locals going because we have enough players.
Hell yeah.
But the important part is be on top of things, run events, be organized. But the number one most important part is just host things and play. Like if you're hosting at your house, or try to get on board with like other fighting game locals, just be there and host. People will come, and even if you have like 3 or 4 people, if you have 3 or 4 consistent people, more people will play. It's just important that like the first step is to get things rolling, and then everything else kind of falls into place. You just gotta host the events.
To kind of add on to what Softy said, that was kind of what I basically tried to do with Indiana, or at least what I should say is the one thing I lacked in Indiana. Is I was there for a while, and I always attended a lot of the Indiana FGC events. I was there with a lot of the local communities. I was always there. I was always helping people organize their stuff, always getting involved, try to be there with Skullgirls, but I never hosted my own event. And I think that was the one thing that I agree with Sophie is like actually probably the most important thing is you need to put a name out there that like is just a space for you guys, and people will show up eventually. I kind of regret now that I just did not have the means to do that. It is the absolute number one thing I would do if I tried to get a local scene right is you have to have some space to just run your own thing and just let it go. The numbers, like, it may be bad for a while, maybe sometimes for a year, but having the space will always help out, and it's pretty hard to get things going when you just can't run anything yourself. So, hard to agree with what Softy said, just run the events and people will show up.
I feel like there's like a 2-pronged approach here. Like there's like locals, like piggybacking or like attending your fighting game locals with Skullgirls, and then hosting like stuff where it's just you guys are playing SG. Like what I've been doing with Chicago, like ever since I was in Indiana for a while now. Since I've been back in Chicago, I've been bringing my setup to Ignite like every week I can. And it's just as long as you have one other person to play with. Like I just for a while it was just the most consistent person was Klausenbaum. So it would be like just me and him playing most of the time. But like other times, other people who they're not like primarily focused on SG, but they still like to play it. Like most of the people, like a good portion of our scene. So like if they have time at locals, then they'll come play. And then all of the new people we've gotten in Chicago have been because me and Klaus have been there with the setup, and then go, hey, they're playing Skullgirls here. Let's I want to play Skullgirls, and then that's how it starts. Like so you like, yes, like I agree with what Softy said with events, but like also just at locals, like you just have to being there is like what you need to do, but also like understand that you're not gonna get like it's not gonna be an explosion. Like you just have to be playing for the purpose of just wanting to play at your locals, like offline Skullgirls. And then stuff will just like naturally snowball from there. And of course, the obvious stuff like be friendly to like be like engage with them as a person and not just someone who just like you're gonna play a video game with, and like help them learn stuff if they're completely new. Don't just stomp them if they never played the game before. Like just actually give them pointers and teach them how to play. Unless they're like an intermediate player, then you think they could like figure stuff out on their own? Like if they could figure stuff out on their own as they play, and but like still give them like hints and stuff.
Joel, do you remember back when we did an Indiana tournament? I don't remember which one it was, but you showed up, and like after we had our matches or whatever, I just like showed you parasol things. You remember that?
Yeah. That was the first time I talked to you like in depth after I met you at UFTT, but like yeah, like that's where I learned about like the parasol jump, like punch up, like kick, jump, medium punch. You're like,
yeah.
You're like, yeah, this is what I do. There's some more fancy stuff, but I don't know. It's just funny.
Basically, like I remember that fondly, just because I remember that's when like afterwards we just talked about the game.
Yeah.
Asked you, but we just hung out for a bit, asking you about other games and stuff like that. That was kind of, if there's one success I feel like I had from Indiana, was at least you moved on from Indiana, but you've gone on to like do your own scene. We were there. We were the only two running SG. But,
yeah, I remember that very fondly.
Yeah, and I'm glad that like now you've gone on and now you're doing things well in Chicago. So,
yeah, dude.
All right.
Another one more small like tidbit is like this is people might disagree, but I would say if you get enough people to run tournaments, I would say don't charge money for them.
Oh,
at least for a small game like Skullgirls, because it's a lot easier to just be like, hey, you want to play? Yeah, okay, put me in the bracket. It's like, you want to play? Okay, yeah, give me $5. And you're like, oh,
yeah.
If you like care about like wanting to engage people and not like, I feel like the goal for most Skullgirls locally sustained will be just engaging people and not, okay, let's be competitive for money. Like,
yeah, certainly, because people aren't going to want to put money down for something they know they're got no shot at.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for the questions about an SG offline-based community. Sadly, the Florida one has been a little scarce as of recent, so I'm hoping to start back things up again once I get to go back to my local scene. At the moment, I'm living in Mexico, so I guess this is my local scene of nothing.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, sure.
If you're just a Skullgirls player and you want to bring Skullgirls to locals, but you don't really have that many people to play with, like I would advise like trying to if you're interested, if it sounds like something interesting, you play the other games your local scene plays and try and just like get involved with the general fighting game scene there, just because not only will you probably meet more cool people, but also playing more games will help you with the game you're most interested in.
Certainly.
And also for as far as like getting new people to play Skullgirls, the biggest audience is probably the other people who are playing like anime fighting games right next to you, so there's also that.
There's that. All right. And that user said, who do you think is going to pull the biggest upset at Combo Breaker? They said a squiggly player in top 8 is enough for me. Tony. Nice meme. All the rest of these are basically memes, so we'll just answer them lightning quick. Question for the Opinion Dash group: why is Greg? It's not. Gregor sucks.
Yep, pretty much.
Any questions for our guest this week, Gelato? Do you like pudding, Gelato, or are you a fan of pudding?
Yeah.
All right, Gelato's a fan of pudding. There you go. And then the biggest upset is going to be Sunset in all caps. Someone's hyped for Sunset.
So someone's a hard believer.
Hard believer. Thank you all for your questions, and please share more of them with us as we move on. It is, however, getting a little late and a little past my bedtime, so we are going to go ahead and move on to the ending segment where we'll all be saying goodbye. And Gelato, you can give a quick plug to what you'd like.
Okay, so my Twitter is at GelatoSGC, and that's also my Twitch. I don't really stream much, but I want to stream more in the future, stream more Skullgirls in the future. Check out tunewithbacon.com, check out the Shoryuken wiki, and if you're going to Combo Breaker, enter the 3v3 tournament I'm running. You can find the sign-up link in the pinned posts of the Combo Breaker channel on the Discord.
And
or
also
on
the
my
description
Twitter.
Yeah, it'll be in the
check out the description. Yeah. It'll be Friday night at 9 p.m. and it'll be a lot of fun. So hope to see you there. And also, if you're a Combo Breaker, say hi.
Say hi. I sure wish I was going to Combo Breaker, but sadly I won't. So I'll just be here being sad.
Same.
I'll be there.
Have fun, you guys.
Yeah, Softy will be there. Go say hi to Softy too.
Hell yeah.
All right, and I believe that is going to be all for today. I'll see y'all next month.
Probably. All right, see ya.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. See you later.
Peace.